There's a retired couple from Seattle, and they sold their home to make sure they live on cruise ships, like this huge one you see right here, because it just costs too much to live in a house. At first I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Cruise ships are expensive. Let's go into some of those details, because these two, Angelyn and Richard Burk, they left their jobs, they left their home, they packed up a couple suitcases, and they went to retirement on these ships. Some details of what's going on, because they figured they could spend up to $135 a day to do this. Sounds pretty good, but it's actually cheaper. Here's the details. Currently this year, we have secured 86 cruise days with an average all-in cost of $89 a day for both of us, is what Angelyn told 7 News, which works out to $32,485 a year, which includes room, food, entertainment, transportation, gratuity, port fees, and taxes. They figured this whole thing out. So Angelyn, she's a former accountant. That makes some sense here. She figured they could live their dream lifestyle thanks to all this stuff with their savings, getting rid of that home, and then just taking off on these ships. So it's been working out pretty well, unsurprisingly. So from 50 days around the Adriatic Sea, seeing the sights around Europe, to a mega 51-day trip from Seattle to Sydney, the couple plans to visit every corner of the globe. Singapore, Italy, Canada, Iceland, and the Bahamas are just a few of the Burks' favorite destinations, all of which they have reached totally by ship. They've been having a great time. Look at these folks, man. These folks need to have like some kind of a do-it-yourself type of podcast to tell people how to really live and be happy. These two are probably the happiest they've ever been.
They look happy. They look stunningly happy. These are the 2 smartest people in America right there. They're not even in America anymore. They're gone. They're gone. They're in the wind. You're never going to catch them.
Who are they citizens of? They're citizens of the world. So more about this, because yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna come up with some like, you can make this about like the home prices in America, but like forget that, man. These people know what they're doing. I haven't gone outside in like 2.5 weeks. These people are just chilling on like boat decks, and yeah, they're fine. There's nothing that we could teach them. We're just here to learn.
Living more than you ever could. So yeah, we can talk about those home prices, because it is a bit a part about this, and it shows just how devastating this whole thing is. So according to Zillow, the typical home value of homes in Burks' hometown of Seattle is $984,863, and the cost of homes in the area has increased 17.8% over the past year. The average monthly cost of a 30-year fixed mortgage with a 20% down payment in the city is about $5,034 per month, or $60,408 a year. And the woman, as I point out, this retired wife here, is pretty happy about it. She says, "We don't plan to permanently live on land in the future. Where else can you have your resort take you to different countries while relaxing by the pool or sleeping in a comfortable bed?" That's what she told CNN, and CNN is probably like, yeah, I'm gonna start saving in a particular way to make sure that I do something like this. Because unless you get seasick, where's the problem?
Yeah, no, it's genius. I want to talk about the different levels of genius here in a second. But just quickly, the sign of the times. I did the math on this. So Jared just told you the numbers. So the cruise ship costs, all in, food, everything else, was $32,000 a year. Just their housing costs for the average home in Seattle is $60,000 a year. It's twice as much for a house, and no food, no entertainment, no nothing, no Cancun, no Norway, no Alaska, no nothing, okay? So housing prices are insane. It went up 18% in 1 year in Seattle. What the hell's going on? How's it going up 18%? It's actually the private equity companies that are buying the homes. We've explained that in a different episode, but that's depressing. So back to these awesome genius American heroes. As I was looking at them, guys, I'm like, retired? Like, wait, I'm like, there's something wrong with this story. And then I realized what it was. I saw their picture, and then I went back and said, wait, how old are they? And it turns out she's 53. They never gave his age, but they're right around the same age, obviously. Oh my God, I'm 52. They're already retired, and they're gone. They're having the time of their lives. I got like decades left to go. I was like, wow. Look, they're more creative than I am on that front. Bless their hearts. And I thought like cramped little place and stuff, but then I started reading the stories, and it turns out some of the cruises, they didn't do the luxury ones, right? But there's like whole houses within the cruise ship. Like dining room, living room, beautiful balcony where you constantly have a view of the ocean. Okay, so it's genius on many levels.
You gotta start working on that.
The only issue that I could maybe foresee is if you're taking cruises that like average $89 a day. I don't know. Maybe you might confront just a few problems. Like I don't know if those are like I don't know if those are necessarily the cruises that you want to relegate yourself to for the rest of your life. But it's still better than paying double just to be housed somewhere, and then God knows how much to eat and drive yourself places and do everything else on top of that.
It also, by the way, it provides maybe for some options. Maybe you spend 5 years on the sea and seeing the world, which is amazing, obviously, first of all. But then say you get tired of it. You're like, okay, let's go to Texas and rent for a year. You're like, I'm tired of being in one place. Let's go back on the cruises again. I don't know. Maybe it provides you so much more. Because look, I was thinking about car notes, car insurance, all these different things that you have to then go to. Just outside of housing things, like they said, they packed a couple suitcases and got the hell out of there and got on a boat. Everything else was left. Think about your daily expenses. They talked about the food and all that stuff, so that comes included. And you think about the housing thing, furniture, bro. Furniture goes out, roofing issues, grass cutting, maintenance of your lawn. All these things just keep compiling as reasons why you just abandon so many extra things, and everyone else provides it for you. You spend at top $135 a day.
I think one of the most admirable parts of this is that there are people who are able to just like unplug. Like I mean, at this point with what we all do for a living, it's hard to just put the phone down anyway. But just to go any amount of time without like picking up Twitter or picking up YouTube or anything else is, I mean, it's admirable. I don't know that I'll ever get there. It's hard for me to imagine like a time where I'm not glued to my phone, but more power to these people. I think that's great. It's probably a lot healthier than what we do.
Yeah, so Brian, look, I agree with you on many fronts. I couldn't do it, right? I don't like being stuck at sea. And so I'd feel constricted. And so they go all across the world, I get it, but it's different strokes for different folks. But it turns out, Brian, they actually can work from the ship. In fact, this is not a new phenomenon. It's just that the housing prices are so crazy that it's becoming a lot more sensible to do this economically, and that's why more people are doing it. But there's this guy named
at the beginning of the pandemic, they different places all around the world were offering people a boatload of money just to like move into their cities.
Yeah, I noticed boatload. Okay, but apparently boatload's not that much. $89 a day. Okay, so but
small boat.
But people are now working from the cruise ships. There's this guy Super Mario. He's apparently been on a cruise ship for 20 years straight. Oh. Okay, so he's old school on this stuff. And they're like, whatever cruise ship he goes on, he just immediately, there's an office for him. They all know him, right? So there's a little like place where he can do his computer and all that Zooming and stuff. So he's conducting business on the cruise ship, has been for 2 decades. There's like Mama Lee, there's like all these old schoolers who've been doing it for a long time. But one of them said, yeah, it's not as easy as you think. Sometimes you can't connect. Like you're in Alaska and there's no cruise ship coming, right? You're like, wait,
I wouldn't think it was that easy. That was not the first thing that came to mind is how easy it would be, especially this guy who's been on the cruise ship for 20 years. I cannot imagine what it was like trying to connect in 2002 while in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, 100%. So, but nowadays apparently it's a little bit easier, and they say if you get stuck somewhere, you know what you do? You take a flight to Miami. Trust me, you'll find a cruise. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.